what's up, everybody? It's Boston Scott with Miller and Jack. I am joined tonight with a special guest, Miss Angela Walker, and she has gone through some trying circumstances, but she's been able to overcome these things. So I just want to welcome her to this interview, and we're going to go through some questions, and she's going to give y'all a personal account of her experience. So, Angela, how are you doing?
Well, Boston, I am doing well. It is so very nice to meet you. Yes, I tell you, that experience was definitely life-changing. For so many people, when they think about COVID, they think about the dark side. However, I was on the dark side, but I'm one of those people that can find a lining in a cloud. And when I tell you, I have done just that. When I woke up from COVID, I woke up with pure purpose, period.
That's great. That's great. I mean, like I said, I think that it's really an inspiration how you were able to battle back and overcome COVID-19 with all the uncertainty and all the fear surrounding the virus. But if you could just talk a little bit about yourself, what you do, so that people can understand a little bit better who you are.
Well, I'm actually a registered respiratory therapist. However, I own multiple businesses. I own a business called Glamorous Sass. Glamorous Sass is a personal stylist and image coach. I also own a business called Pageant Authority, which I'm a former Miss Plus Louisiana, and I'm also co-director of Miss Full Figure USA Louisiana. I own another business called Rose Gardens for Princess Tea Parties, and I'm a licensed vendor for Miller and Jack as well. So I tell you, after having COVID, I contracted this thing. Well, I'm not going to say contracted. I have something called COVID PTSD, where it is very hard for me to go back into a hospital facility and work. So I've had to change and alter my career, unfortunately. But, you know, God does everything for a reason. During the time that I went through it, I didn't understand it. When I tell you, I was mad at the world. Several days I cried at the fact that I had to hang up my stethoscope because all I knew how to do was to take care of people. And when you become the patient and you feel like you wasn't taken care of, let me tell you, I went to 4 facilities before I got help. On my very last attempt to get help, I drove myself to a hospital around the corner, only because my mother called me and begged me to go to the hospital when telling her, Mom, ain't nobody gonna help me. So why do you want me to go back? But the only reason I went back, Boston, is because my mother buried my brother at 19, and I couldn't bear the fact of having my mother bury another child. So I got in my car and I drove to the hospital. And you wanna know what I did? Me, a healthcare professional. I parked in a handicapped parking spot and I hung my head out of the car because I had no more energy to walk. So the people, and I just asked random people that were passing by if they could help me. And just so happened, the manager of ER was coming out and she came to get a wheelchair. And I actually worked at this hospital years ago. So it was very hard for me to become a patient. I can remember one of my colleagues coming in the room to draw ABGs on me, which is arterial blood gases. And when you know what happens from that, when I tell you, man, that was the most, I can't even explain the experience. But at that point, I doubted everything. My faith was in the drain. I couldn't believe me, who takes care of everybody. And when I tell you, take care of them, everybody is my mama, sister Amy. So much, Boston, that I took care of these patients that I would even follow them to the grave. When they died, I sat at the funerals with the family. So it was very, very hard for me to hang my stethoscope up. I don't know when or how I could ever pick it up. But, you know, only time will tell. But I'm on this new journey of being a personal stylist and image coach. And so it's equally as amazing as being a respiratory therapist, because when God allowed me to wake up, I told God, God, if you make my business be profitable, I will not only dress them and make them look nice on the outside, I'll pour into them in the inside. So, you know, as a healthcare professional, I'm a caregiver at heart. So all I know how to do is to pour into people. So I'll definitely say I've made turned this bad experience into something good.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you're able to find the good, you know, when there's so much negative surrounding contracting the virus and also going through the process of recovering from it, you know, because not a lot of people have, you know, there's some people that it's taken their lives. And it's truly a blessing to hear about your testimony and your story. But I guess the next question that I have to ask is, what was that recovery process like? How long were you out of commission? How long were you, how long did it take for you to feel like, okay, I'm normal again? Or are you to a point to where you feel like you're normal again?
I'll tell you, physically, I'm normal. But occasionally, mentally, it's not to an extent that, like I have outbursts, but sometimes mentally, the fact again that I've had to hang up my stethoscope because of COVID PTSD is really, really hard. Recovery time, I'm gonna tell you something. When you go from a fact that you can't even walk from your bed to your bathroom, and your bathroom is in your bedroom, I'll say for the next, it probably took me about a month to fully physically recover. I had to take my time and walk to the mailbox back and forth, back and forth. I would do it twice in the morning and twice in the evening until I recovered all my strength. Because when I tell you, man, it took every ounce of everything from outside of me. It's unbelievable. I'll give you one experience because I want you to feel this, and I need the people to feel this. Boston, I remember going to one hospital, and my brother brought me to the hospital, and I had a fever of 104 and a blood pressure of 177 over 111. You know what those people did to me, Boston? When they realized I was a healthcare professional, first of all, after they took my pressure, they put me on a loading dock where you wait for COVID patients for a nurse to come get you. I sat outside for 5 minutes before a nurse came get me. When the nurse came get me, she brought me back in the room, and this is what she told me. First of all, they called me and said, is this all your information still the same? But after I told her I was a respiratory therapist, she went out and told the physician I was a respiratory therapist. He came in that room and he told me this. He hit knuckles with me, and he said point blank, I'm going to give you 2 Tylenols and 1 clonidine, and he sent me home with 104 fever and a blood pressure of 177 over 111, and he told me let my pneumonia get a little worse. And by the time I let it go 1 or 2 days later, I had bilateral pneumonia, everything you can think of that came along with COVID. So it was definitely a trying time, definitely.
Definitely sounds like it, man. I couldn't imagine, some of the emotions that you probably experienced through this time. And but like I said, that's why I have so much respect for you, and I find it so inspiring that you're able to take, the positive things away from this experience. So I guess my next question would just be, what is there something that, is there some kind of revelation that you experienced, or is there some sort of, ideology that kind of hit you after you went through this? I know you kind of alluded to it before with just, your kind of shift in what you're pursuing, but personally, are there, what did you learn from this experience?
Well, I definitely got a greater strength in my religious base, that's for sure. It was tested monetarily, like very small, it was tested. But I know that I'm here for a reason, I can tell you that. Definitely, I'm here for a reason. So every day that I wake up, I walk in purpose, period. If it makes me $1 million, it makes me $5, or it makes me no dollars. The fact that I'm walking in purpose is important, because there's a reason why God woke me back up and gave me all my senses, my abilities. There's a reason for that. It's a reason, because I think that without a test, you can never have a testimony. So with me being able to share this with other people is important. I'm also like in COVID support groups. So daily I'm able to encourage and motivate them, because when you're at that part of the tunnel, at the darkest part of the tunnel, you don't want to hear nothing, man. You feel so bad. Ain't nothing nobody can call and tell you. Nothing.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So, you're on the outside looking in now. You've overcome COVID, thankfully. So, what are you doing right now to make for preventative measures? To ensure that nothing like that comes into your house, or what do you do to make sure that you're sanitized throughout the day, going from place to place? Because I mean, we still have to live our regular lives in some way, shape, or form, right? So we have to make sure that sanitization priority. So what are you doing to capitalize on that?
Well, definitely. I do believe in social distancing. I always go into facilities with masks. That is very, very, very important. And honey, being a fashionista, I always have a matching mask. So I make sure that I have a mask. I make sure that I have hand sanitizer. I make sure that I have all the amenities that I need to keep myself safe and healthy, especially being out there, being a personal stylist and personal shopper. So I'm in the store daily. I'm in, people's presence daily. So I carry hand sanitizer everywhere. It's in my car. It's on my desk. Let me tell you something. Surface cleaner, honey, I clean those surfaces daily. I don't really entertain company like that into my home. And just because you just never know, if they do have it, just because I have it doesn't mean that I can't get it again. So, and I may not be that lucky again. So I definitely take all the precautions as far as wearing masks and washing my hands and using hand sanitizer. And surface disinfectant. It's very, very important and imperative that we all do those things.
That's good. And I know you mentioned that you're a Miller and Jack vendor. So if you could just talk a little bit about your experience with the product and the effectiveness of the product and your overall thought process with the product. Just tell us about it.
All right, Miller and Jack is a phenomenal company. So when I tell you phenomenal, it's FDA approved, bottled in an FDA facility, comes with the EPA sheet. When I tell you it is amazing, let me tell you, the LS Analyte, if you don't have it in your house, honey, then you're definitely missing out. That is for sure. That's actually what I clean my surfaces with. It's actually, that's all I have in my cabinet right now. I have got rid of some of our name brands, and especially with there being such a shortage of it, to have Miller and Jack and be a certified vendor for them is pretty awesome, especially with my experiences. So I'm able to refer people to them, and I'm able to, have the products myself. So it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal product. And listen, they have great customer service. They're easy to deal with. So if you needed to get something, if you didn't want to get it from myself as a vendor, you can get it. You can go directly to Miller and Jack and get the product as well.
Absolutely. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. I actually also recently got on board on the team with Miller and Jack. There's been a lot in the works as of late. The higher-ups been doing a great job putting everything together, coordinating things, and as a professional athlete, I have an agent. I basically have a team that makes sure that any endorsements or deals that I go into are legit. And to be honest, my agent and my financial advisor both went through everything Miller and Jack had to offer as far as paperwork, as far as documentation, as far as verification, and it was a consensus saying that this was very thorough and well put together. So it's a quality product, and I just want to thank you, Angela, for giving your experience, for sharing your story, and I would just encourage everybody with this. It's important right now to make sure that you're doing everything you can to protect yourself and protect your family and protect those around you. And I believe that a way to do that at an affordable cost is through Miller and Jack. And so if you guys are interested, if anybody is interested, be sure to be on the lookout for a discount code coming through me that you guys will be able to have access to through Miller and Jack. So again, thank you, Angela, for giving us your time. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, hope everybody has a great night, and see y'all later.